All right, what up, traders? What up, investors? Sorry about having some little bit of technical difficulties here on the little YouTube live button. I'm not seeing the preview on it, so it just gave me a black screen. That's why I asked if everyone could see anything. Yes, sorry. Just getting a couple things pounded out here, and then we'll get some fun going. Go ahead, and if you have any charts, we can go ahead and look at those. Start putting those in the comment section. Thank you, everyone, for coming out. I see Chris, Roberts. What's up, Washley? What's up, my friends? Swag King, that's awesome. It's always difficult to hold, without a doubt, to see if potentially to see if the moving can going. Basically, the hardest thing to do when you find out to kind of start trading and investing is selling too early. You always feel like you're selling too early, and it can definitely be kind of a hindrance. Alright, YouTube's giving me some silly suggestions here. That's kind of weird. 69-1 split. Alpaca, I saw your thing on Discord. Hopefully you got all your farm animals out. I saw that you got the goats out. They were happy. Crazy for sure, without a doubt. Alright, let's see here. Super weird that cannot see this preview here on my screen, but that's fine. We'll just have to roll with it. I have to use the secondary screen. Alright, let's go ahead and get started, everyone. Thank you again for everyone for coming out. I really do appreciate it. You can be at a lot of different places right now, but you decided to spend your evening here looking at charts. Yeah. Anywho, let's go ahead and just dive right in. I'm gonna make sure this is popping up on the screen here. Should be great. We'll see how this overall continues to go. Again, I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties on the YouTube live preview screen. I'm just getting a blank screen, so hopefully, can I get a thumbs up or someone saying that you're able to see the S&P 500 on the screen in front of you? That would be fantastic. I'm looking on my stream. It looks like it should be working now. Okay. I understand. That's okay. That's good to know. That's always good to know. Alpaca, it looks like you got your stuff straight. Looks good. Thank you, Roberts. Appreciate it. Okie dokie. So let's go ahead and just kind of look here at the overall market. We're going to be looking in exactly at basically the S&P 500, trying to get to that magical all-time highs at 33975. Of course, we are literally points away. What is this tippy top here? Let me zoom. Let me go on like a 15-minute chart here real fast. So look, the high here, it was at basically we missed it by $2-ish. That's pretty close to that all-time high. Not tapping it. We haven't even tapped it, I believe, even outside of market hours. But that being said, this is definitely a super bullish move. I honestly like it a little bit better that we're just not completely just slicing through the all-time high, due to the fact that it's basically could just mean a really strong reversal. So if we're easily graduating into it, that's more or less likely to get some weak hands not shuck out, and basically just could have cause a very dramatic short correction. That being said, that can always happen without a doubt on how folks can particular look at potentially a sell-off or getting to these all-time highs. We could have a correction. I don't think we're going to be getting anything like this that we saw, of course, with the virus and the pandemic. But that being said, this has been just a monstrous run without a doubt. And really looking forward to kind of gradually cut into this, potentially tomorrow or even next week, who knows. But again, anything can drop, the ball can go, and we'll see how it goes. Yes, Alpaca, definitely Tesla, if they reach that $1,200 price target, basically looking for that 420 split. This would be absolutely wouldn't just be hilarious. Would just be completely just. It would honestly kind of be somewhat worrisome in the sense of that the market is that easily manipulated, and that folks are just totally into just trying to just do it for the meme. That being said, this chart has just been a monster ever since that low, which I think I posted on in Discord, where I said, "Is like, this looks like Tesla wants to crash lower, but knowing Tesla, there's something brewing." And lucky I didn't short it, because it still was holding the 34. But this thing just really just took off to the extreme upside. Again, it's Tesla. It's a cult stock. People are pretty fanatic about it, in the sense of just like, I can't get enough of it. People really love it. People hate it. Some people. But this thing has just been on a monstrous run. Really initially looking for that basically around the 1272 extension from the previous swing high to low. Again, that price target was around like 1911. That really just kind of bounced off it a little bit, but then today just really just took that out and just drove that price significantly higher, trying to test, again, well over 2,000, hitting 2,021, looking for the next upside target if it has any momentum left, which I think it kind of does, which if you haven't seen the Apple video I just released regarding that Apple potentially could hit $500 by the end of the month if the momentum and everything can kind of stick together. Really looking for that price target for around 2060, so $2,060 for the next overhead resistance for Tesla. So I know that seems another huge gap up, but we were only up, guys, only up $123 today, or 6.56%. So yeah, that's pretty substantial. Because if you look at this a little bit longer term, it just looks absolutely insane. It looks like it's literally like an escalator or a ladder straight up, and just really kind of puts things into perspective. Again, we still have that ART investing recommendation at 6,000, and that kind of lines up with this Fibonacci way up here, but that's pretty far off where we're currently trading. Of course, that's going to be somewhat minimized once we start seeing how the split reacts and go have some fun from there. Brian, what's up, my man? What could you do? Uber. Yes, let's look at Uber. So Uber and Lyft actually had a nice little lift off today. Was quite interesting pattern. Let's go to the daily side here. With Uber, looking here at the Fibonacci retracements, we had a lot of consolidation here. I know there's a lot of lines going on here. Let me kind of weed this out here. A lot of consolidation here around the 200 EMA. Never had enough strength, kind of just dozed around here. We made this basically box here to kind of identify potentially a very tight trading range. Kind of broke through it, but now kind of made a really strong recovery here. Let me pull, let me go back to this one. Let me pull that. So I've turned this Fibonacci retracement back from the previous swing high to low. But what we can do is actually do this. Oopsies. Boom. And boom. There's still a significant amount of damage going on here with overall, with Tesla having just, with Uber just having a lot of damage. Since it's kind of has been really just, I wouldn't say ransacked, but more just like just trading sideways. Really need to see it above that $32.50 price range. So $32.50 to kind of see any kind of potential movement. I do like this large move today. That is a sign of life, a sign of potential trying to move higher. I did kind of come back from the dead from the RSI and volume zone oscillator. What's up, Blue? Thanks for joining, my friend. Josh, how you doing? Oh, Josh, you got blown up by Tesla. Yeah, it's wasn't a fun stock to be on the short side, without a doubt, today. Or just this week as well. Yeah, this last week and a half has been absolutely insane for Tesla and Apple. With Uber here, it really is trying to potentially get a breakout, but we're seeing here again it kind of broke above that 200-day before, but then kind of failed back down. Seeing that really failing here at potentially the $31. It did kind of cross and break above it, so that is a potential sign to kind of start breaking higher. We really need to see it above that 34 to start breaking the 35 to really get out of this little trend here, or this really trading range as well. So that is a very much a task that we could see. Oh, Edison D, welcome. Thank you for becoming a VIP member. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So with this one, we're really looking forward to break above that 35.84 to kind of see on how this could play out. To the downside, we're really seeing some support around the $28 price target, so that could potentially be some lower prices coming in. If that can't hold, we'll see what happens. But this is normally a pretty good sign with a lot of volume coming in, potentially kind of washing away some of those fears there. All right, so I don't know what those tickers are. What are those tickers? Those are quite a few tickers. Are those even those penny stocks? Oh, okay. A and W revenue. What is this, my friend? This looks like it barely trades. There's like no volume in here. Yikes. What is this? Let me Google the wrong thing here. I need to know what kind of company this is. A very strange, without a doubt, stock there. Let me see here. That's awesome. Wow. Makeshift, what's up? With this one, we're really kind of looking at it's going to be a hard one to kind of diagnose here, just because, hey, we're seeing some really kind of interesting views here, because there's not much volume going on here, so that is somewhat a little bit of a concern. So it's hard for me to kind of give guidance on that, because a volume is a huge key in a lot of the technical stuff that we do. Let's look at the other one here, Roberts. Yeah, same with this one. It's got a little bit of better volume, but there's not much of actions between intraday in these candlesticks. I'm sorry, I'm not able to add too much knowledge there, Roberts. Apologize. Can we look at LRCX? Yes, we can. Other dividend payments. That's something I really don't do well with, is dividend. I don't look at many dividend stocks, so I'm not really, sorry my friend, I'm not really the best to evaluate those. With land research, we're really seeing some particular moves here. This kind of comes in from the previous swing high to the low here. Again, some very basic Fibonacci retracements. Been holding the 21 EMA fairly well, coming down to the 34 a couple times. We're seeing that pattern again today, being down nearly 3.5%, kind of potentially bouncing off here on the 34. Since it's a gap down, that's a little bit more difficult to potentially start buying at this. It's not by a gap down. What we mean by a gap down, there is no candle space here, so there's a gap. Again, you could drive a truck through this gap here. There's, of course, larger gaps that we've seen before, but this one in particular is just one that is really just lackluster, and it's going to be very difficult to kind of start buying this on the whim of like, oh, okay, it's at the 34, but what we need to see is a little bit more consolidation here, since there is some damage. Imagine this is like a tear in the muscle or something like that. This is the first sign of like, ooh, that feels a little sore, feels a little achy, because that parabolic SRS switch, which is the trend that we want to continue if you're going to be long this. Again, I'm not sure if you're long this. Actually, that makes a complete difference if you're long or short this, my friend. I think, what did you say? You just asked me to do it. I didn't see if you were long or short this. But, no, you didn't say. But again, it's really come down to the 34. What we'd like to see, again, with a lot of these heavy-duty stocks, has been just potentially a very strong reversal. Again, people are somewhat fearful and just want to straight up buy it, because, like, guess what? everything's a V-shaped bottom, just buy the dip, stocks just go up. All these different new sayings and motivational things that are coming out is that, okay, you're long. So definitely I would, for me, be much more a little bit conservative. I'm not going to be running out and just throwing all my eggs in one basket. But that being said, we want to see on how steep this damage is. Again, I'm not 100% sure why this happened. If there was somehow one of their factories are printing the wrong chips or something like that, just be very careful of that. Really want to be potentially building a base here around the 34. It doesn't have to be exactly on the 34, just but within that range, just kind of trading sideways. Can we see that kind of potentially play out? Again, we can easily come back down to around the 344 as well. That's kind of where the 50-day and the 55 kind of come into line. So be very mindful of that and be very hesitant to not to just be able, again, just jump out and just put all your eggs in one basket. We'll see, and if this can hold, you just kind of have to be kind of a sit and wait kind of patience kind of thing. OCU Visa calls PC ratio very okay. Visa, I think it's just V, right? Yeah, Visa has been like in a very strong range here, finally kind of breaking out of here. Well, again, we can kind of just highlight that range here just by looking at this box here, and just really just kind of just trading. Oh, there it goes. Trading sideways, finally getting above this price target, which is great to the long side if you want to be long Visa. It sounds like you are long Visa. That being said, we can kind of do a quick fib here from the swing high to swing low. That really tight consolidation around the 197 to 195. Now seeing that break above 200, which is really strong key. Potentially waiting to kind of potentially grind higher with that squeeze firing long and RSI and volume zone oscillator potentially going to new all-time highs. Newer highs. We want to see that potential movement between the 5 and 8 continue to kind of grind higher here and slowly make its way up to that 215 to kind of start being some wearisome and potentially seeing some downside, or if you want to be a little bit more bearish on it, we really need to start seeing the break below the 97 and then start really break below the lower end of this trend here on these multiple support areas here. Basically below 190 would be like your get out of dodge kind of scenario. If dividends always nice, but a lot of the things that I do for my options trading account, which I normally do all through Tastyworks, is just going to be straight just gross stuff. No offense, Roberts, but that's just like my cup of tea. Blue, what's up, my friend? Adobe, yes, Adobe, great company. Another great stock, like we just talked about it. It broke out of the box, right? Like I'm sure you've been watching this one very closely, like we have. By we, I mean myself, basically just continue kind of trading in this range here and seeing this particular movement. Again, Adobe, Apple, a lot of these very heavy growth stocks that have just been really just killing it on just earnings and just really just taking market share from anyone else. Particularly with Adobe, has always been somewhat of a market leader. Like if Adobe, or I think another one I always look at is Team and like Workday, if those move first with Apple, then Apple, Netflix, and Facebook usually follow. Like that's just like a pattern recognition in that sense. But with this one, this thing looks fantastic. Basically hitting an all-time high today. So what we have to do here is basically look from this previous high here to this low here, and we're going to be looking for the next price target around 485. Let's just call it 486 because we're friends. Looking for that potential price target to reach that. If it can break that, then the next price target's going to be at 505. Downside, you're really going to see that support kind of come in around the 450. I know that's quite a ways off where we're currently at, but we're seeing again a lot of that consolidation around the 21 EMA and even down to the 34. And with a stock like Adobe that kind of moves pretty drastically, it doesn't move a couple bucks a day. Again, like it moves 16 bucks today. It's nearly a $500 stock. We really want to see on how this plays out without a doubt. Let's do that. I'm going to put some alerts in just to be on the safe side. Can we check out MaxR? What is MaxR? So this is one I think I just did. Did we just do this one makeshift? Okay, maybe not. I didn't. I'm sorry. So from the previous swing high to previous swing low, we're seeing some really interesting activity here with a huge gap up on earnings. Looks like they finally made a nice positive earnings here. Not sure what this company does makeshift. That being said, seeing that movement pop up to $25.30, which is again that 1272 extension from the previous swing high to previous swing low. Seeing that potentially a little bit of consolidation here, but then getting that momentum to really push through, again, with earnings, can really push through things and really drive it higher. Potentially consolidating here around the 26 to 25, building a base and seeing if that momentum can continue. The only downside that I'm seeing here is the volume zone oscillator can kind of start shrinking lower, but we don't want this to start going below zero. We start seeing this go below zero and RSI really kind of fall out of the sky to start getting below 60 or 50. We could really kind of lose the momentum on this particular movement, and the base building or building the line that we call it, or holding the line, can potentially fail and start coming back down. If it starts coming back down, potentially the short-term support is going to be around 25, but really looking for support basically around the 21 and 34 EMA, kind of falling in around the 2150 area. For that being said, really looking, if that can build a base, we want to start seeing that above $30. So that's something to keep your eyes out without a doubt. So be super mindful on that. Your churro. You're welcome, Blue. Kane. Microsoft. Yes, another great stock to look at. So the old Microsoft. It's been a crazy ride with this one, without a doubt. Doing very more short-term Fibonacci retracements analysis on this one. So from the previous swing high to previous swing low, we're seeing that tap here basically at the 215, 214 price target. We're going to call it 215 because we're friends. Looking for that potentially to hold. If you want that to start going higher, the momentum is on its side with the TTM squeeze, RSI, and volume zone oscillator. Again, with the overall market, anything can happen. Things can drop, things can fail. But this really looks, again, I'm not too familiar with the matter on the sense of the TikTok stuff. I know that they have until like mid-September to kind of work out a deal or something like that to get all the data back into the US and have it on Azure or whatever, some US-based servers, and not use steal US citizens' data, whatever. I don't know what the overall deal falls into, but really looking for that break above that 215 to start testing those higher price targets of the previous high around 218 and then back to that 222, which I initially thought that it would kind of really come through in fruition on the sense of its really good earnings, and really thought on this large gap up, again, that was that large TikTok deal, but that kind of just flattened out here, basically kind of holding those previous highs here, and basically a lot of overhead resistance around the 217 to 218, so be mindful of that. It could kind of hesitate and kind of check the waters before it really wants to make a big move there. Other defense contractor. Yeah, defense contractors really kind of have a nice little niche, for without a doubt. But again, you never know when that market crash comes. So, I don't know if you guys remember. I did this little colorful macaroon here. I call it my macaroon chart here, with the green, yellow, and red. Basically, can kind of move these aisles up here. Really looking for these movements to kind of move if things really. Oh, that was a fat finger move there. These macaroons here, looking for And if you haven't had a good macaroon, you're missing out on life. With this, what we're looking at basically is this is the S&P 500. We're just looking at SPY. With that large kind of gap down today, everyone was like, "Oh, it's going to go down a little bit more, and it's going to kind of consolidate potentially and just kind of trade flat." But no, we really wanted to push higher and really continue to potentially break out and get above those all-time highs and just continue to grind higher. That being said, no one has a crystal ball in the market. I hope everyone knows that. But that being said, you can never know when the market could come down. There are some early signs and indications what we potentially could see, but there isn't anything significant at this point in time that's really saying, hey, the market's coming down right now, technically speaking. I know that you can spin it in certain ways about the economy, unemployment, all this other stuff, but it's very difficult because you have, I'm not saying the market's always right, but you have the largest company, you have Apple, Tesla, Facebook, Amazon just making record numbers. That doesn't mean the economy's good. It just means the stock market's good. So the S&P 500 doesn't always dictate on what the economy's doing. If you want a better sense of what the economy's doing, you're going to look at the RUT. We can look at IWM. So IWM is the Russell 2000. So this is a stock index of a lot of the companies that are U.S. based, that are a little bit more mid cap to smaller cap potentially. It's more mid cap kind of companies, and they're not large multi countries, nationalities, and things like that. And this one, of course, is nowhere near its all-time highs. Even though from its all-time highs, again, IWM is basically like SPY to this, we're seeing at these Russell 2000, basically the high at 170.50, let's call it, to see this potentially try, I don't know why this didn't click. I can't stand when it doesn't click. Okay, there we go. But we're seeing some potential support come in here. So around the 21 and where the 78.6 percentile move is, we're seeing the 150.54 kind of come in for some very short-term support. So if this can hold here, that would be a nice significant sign for potentially kind of a building of a base here to potentially start curling up, getting that momentum to get above that previous high or above 171, basically, to kind of see if we can really see that really positive movement really come into play. And then that being said as well, really looking forward to the downside. The downside is really going to be coming in pretty sharp here, really looking for around 144 to 145. Being on the short-term side. Short-term side, you're really looking for around 150 for support, but then after that, it really just kind of starts coming down pretty drastically to that 144 range within IWM. Of course, IWM is better representation with the overall market that I believe in the United States rather than being the large tech companies that basically run the overall indexes of the SPY. I don't think that China has a vaccine yet. I have figured where. Robert, but again, I have no idea. I have no crystal ball. Can you look at EEM? Of course. So previous swing high to previous swing low here. Looking for, again, I normally like to look at, on a daily side, anything between the 21 and 34 is a potential buying opportunity. But looking for this, again, a gap down pretty drastically, but it kind of bottomed here. Didn't bottom here, but we could look at a potential, just a significant sign of potential support here. So that 34, between 21 and 34 is usually a level of support that I like to look at in the short to intermediate term, meaning a couple days to weeks. I'm not going to base off this trade for 3 or 4 months down the road, it's very difficult to do that. We're going to be looking to the 50 or 34 to kind of give us a better consolidation pattern further out. Really for this one, we're seeing some support kind of come in potentially to 43.25 down to 42.80. So those are going to be your potential short-term moves there to the downside. Again, after that, we're really looking for some potential. Again, had a pretty large gaps up, so we could be looking down at a lot of support here coming around the 200 EMA, so around $41 there. To the upside, if we can kind of continue moving this trend higher, the 5 and 8 gets to stay above the 21, we can easily continue this nice steady eddy grind to those previous highs around 46.30 there, my friend. Crowd. Yeah, we look at crowd. WD. So this one, again, like Fastly and the other various Internet of Things, kind of had a very strong rebound. Of course, with the quarter from Fastly and all those other folks didn't do very well. We had a pretty large downward movement that basically kind of created a bottom here at the 78.6 percentile move, again, right around the 55 EMA. Really kind of considering this kind of a short-term bottom here, and this kind of made a very strong recovery bottom here. Looking for some further movement, we can kind of remove that one, and we're just going to update it with just a very basic retracement here. So the swing high to swing low, really looking to see, again, that 5 and 8 have crossed through the 21. That's a great sign. Check. It's above the 618. Check. Momentum's looking great. RSI, volumes on oscillator. Check, check, check. The only thing that I'm most likely concerned about, it has earnings on the horizon. So what we could be seeing here is a potential earnings run. Again, initially looking for some potential overhead resistance around the 115 to 113.18 level to kind of see some potentially, not selling off, but potentially some overhead resistance, and even back up to its previous high around 118 if it wants to potentially run into earnings. Again, earnings is a complete coin flip. I don't like to speculate on what could happen on earnings because it could just be completely upside down, left or right. Yeah, we can look at ZM. Yep, ZM is one of the positions that we recommended within the Patreon and as well as YouTube membership. If you can check that tab down out below if you're interested on supporting the channel. With this one, Zoom has just been, I can't even say enough good things about Zoom. And honestly, it was a little scary for a little bit, looking for basically that really sharp movement down here. I was hoping, hoping is the wrong word, with this squeeze that we had in play, I was thinking it was going to fire long, and I was projecting on it firing long, to looking to kind of start breaking above that 275 or above. With that being said, that didn't happen. Again, don't have a complete written in stone mindset. You have to change and adapt, because the market will change and adapt really quick, and it will just kick you on the back of your heels and just sometimes trip you, fake you out, break your ankles, anything it can do to get through your curveball. It'll find a way to do it. With that being said, I wasn't completely ready for this move, and it came down. I was like, you know what? I think that it's just shaking out some weak hands, and I was like, if it holds the 55 EMA, again, between the 50 and 55 EMA is basically what I call the hedge fund folks. That's what it kind of gets on their radar, where it has a significantly down pull, and the folks who are, I don't like to put people in buckets, but more of the lackluster that haven't been around the corner, around the block a couple times, are just getting out. And you can really see that movement with these large red candles here of just that really panic selling. And guess what? It panic sells right into their hands. And of course, on those panic selling days, you're getting a lot more average volume that allows the hedge funds and the bigger guys kind of munch up, and they're buying those shares on the way down, and then boom, guess what happens? Nice reversal there. Once the kind of the overall market changes, now just seeing that really strong breakout here. To kind of look for some potential targets up ahead, we can kind of look again. This one also has earnings on the horizon, so be super mindful again of that. Basically, the 291 was my initial target, but then looking for 307 if this overall movement and basically really strong trend can continue. We're seeing some pretty heavy action here around 297 here on the after hours trading, so this looks like it still wants to continue to move higher. So this looks like a very strong trend there, my friend. Got DE at 137 earnings call, John. Did they already have earnings? I forgot. Oh, it's coming out tomorrow morning or something. Because like tomorrow morning. Yeah, so again, if you just listen, I usually don't play earnings like that, just buying straight calls, because again, theta and that IV crush can really kill you and really just start losing that value of that options. For this one, really looking for some potential downside support around 184 to 181, and then upside, it's going to be looking for around 202 for that potential price target move there. On the trade tab, we can kind of look here. They're looking for a move of basically $8.50. So that kind of lines up basically where that potential low here and that potential high up here is. So this basically just a coin flip, or it can do completely nothing and just trade sideways. If it starts coming down to the 21 and basically down to the 181 level with a lot of velocity, I don't want to be just going out and buying it hand over fist, but this would be unless they come out with really bad news or they just missed it because some analyst had a bad day, didn't have the right amount of creamer in his coffee or whatever reason. Let me take a sip of water here. Potentially see that consolidation kind of come in here around the 21. Of course, we want to see that building of the base and seeing how if that can really build a strong base to kind of see some movement go higher. But yeah, it's a great looking stock without a doubt. I like the pattern previously. It's been really very momentum driven between the 5 and 8 moving averages there, John. Blue, what do you think about FB? Yeah, so FB had a nice little move today as well with, again, the overall tech market, tech industry being the FANG stocks, whatever you want to categorize them as. This one I kind of have to update some of the fibs here and kind of run some more newer potential levels. But we're really seeing here, and they're still somewhat holding up, is basically the overhead resistance at 278.53, and that has held once already, basically almost to the T. Looking forward to basically, again, using that 5 and 8 moving averages it's just been really grinding higher. Potentially, again, pretty large move today, about nearly 2.5%. Momentum strong. We already had earnings, so we don't have to really worry about that. And seeing that Zuckerberg can really mess things up, and I haven't heard anything with them being called to Congress or testify anything about anything more. But this being said, anything can happen in the market. Be mindful of that. But we're looking for potential downside support, kind of coming in between 255 down to 248. Again, it's Facebook, so it can move down quite drastically. And depending on the news, it could be a great buying opportunity. AKA like this opportunity previously here when they had all those people boycotting them because of XYZ reasons. That can go on and on. That was a pretty nice buying opportunity depending on how much the bleeding lasted. Initially looking for that 55 to 50 day moving averages holding there and just kind of making a pretty strong V-shaped bottom here and this really grinding higher, then kind of coming back a little bit. This is a very somewhat of a sloppy trade here, but it's Facebook, so it's kind of in the news quite a bit, so you have to be ready for those kind of waking up and like what could happen today to Facebook. Robert, can you look at Lyft? Yeah, you bought Lyft today? Again, Lyft, why is this not typing? So, not sure exactly why you chose Lyft over Uber, but Lyft has just really just been, you can really just see this pattern here, just consecutively just going lower and grinding lower here. really failing here at the 200-day quite a bit here. I know you had a pretty large move today, about nearly 6% here, about $1.62. But that being said, we're seeing this pattern here kind of play out here, not being able to really break above the 21 or 34 here. So it's really need to see it above $30 potentially and start building some strong bases here and really get above that $30 to $31 to potentially start seeing some movement go higher here. This is going to be very difficult one to see play out because, again, Uber is kind of taking its lunch, right? So yeah, it's be a very difficult one to trade. I think this one is potentially a good trade. I don't know if it's the greatest investment in the idea. Yeah, I like art. I like. I was just listening to a new interview that Kathy Wood put out. Is that her name? ARKK. Of course, this is really just representing the overall tech industry here, without a doubt. With art just continues climbing higher here. Really, again, this chart looks pretty brilliant here with that 21 and 34. So it's very good. It might be difficult makeshift, but you might have to be a little bit patient to start seeing a potential movement to around 83 to 81 to potentially add into basically where the 21 and 34 kind of lie for a potential buying opportunity. And if you want to be a little bit greedy, you just kind of want to start seeing it probably around 85 to 86-ish to potentially buy in, or if you just want to buy a very small position now to add to your overall portfolio to kind of hedge it, or if you want to go short it. I'm not sure what you're going to be doing. It sounds like you want to go long it. So yeah, I love definitely the innovation over there is pretty phenomenal. Oh, you're buying the dip. Okay. With Lyft, just be very careful. Like, if you want to buy the best of the best in that kind of industry, I would have to point you to Uber. AV says thoughts on Baba. So Baba had earnings yesterday. I did a question there. Yes, it looks like yesterday. And again, still really holding this really strong pattern, even though it's a Chinese-based company. People are still buying into this. Really seeing that it's been choppy in the past. You can kind of see that pattern here. But really looking to see that 21 and 34 to kind of continue keeping this trend going here. Really looking for initial price targets above the 264 here. Sorry, 1 second. Still dealing with my hernia. I got overall. I'm actually going to raise my desk up real fast so I stand. 1 second, folks. All right. Can everyone hear me okay? Can I get a thumbs up? Thank you. All right. So that being said, where was I? Okay, Baba. So Baba, super strong still. Looking for, again, with earnings, didn't come flying off the shelf, didn't just completely be a rocket ship and just grind higher to all-time highs. It had a reasonable earnings. I didn't really read anything too much greatly into it, but it's still holding the 21 and 34 EMA, so that trend is still intact. Unless we start seeing that 5 and 8 start crossing into the 21, past the 34, then they'll be somewhat slightly concerning there. Donovan, I do have a list. I was going to do another video probably this weekend to kind of talk about my chart setup. So just have your queue ready for that, and I'm going to try to put out a video on really explaining the very basics of my chart setup on TOS, and I'll share that I'll share that link once that comes out. Are you going to buy a Airbnb when it IPOs? Most likely not, because it's going to run up so bad, and I don't want to touch it. Jonathan, we did talk about Visa. Visa initially price target we had it at, or I think it was like 215. Yeah, so 215 initially, and if it can break that 215, which is basically its previous high, we're going to be looking to around the 127 EM or 127 Fibonacci retracement, which is around the $235. So it kind of matches up with your 240 price target potentially. When is it going to happen? I have no idea. But that being said, we're seeing again, it finally broke out of this very long-term, basically, what was that 2-month range here of just really just consolidating here. Poison, can we do UPS? Saw a huge call flows today. Yeah, we can look at UPS. Yeah, UPS, of course, UPS, FedEx, of course, everyone's just shipping everything now. It's been pretty strong here, without a doubt. Looking for kind of some consolidation here, since the earnings move has just been really unexpected for, I think, a lot of folks, and just kind of really like reevaluating things. And that's usually what happens with a huge earnings move like this, with like a 2 or 3 deviation move. People kind of like, what, WTF, what happened? And then you start seeing that reevaluation come in, and then you're like, okay, let me upgrade and figure out what's going on here. Oh, it's because of this reason, and then boom, you get that jolt up. Really looking for some consolidation here. Potential next price target could be to 195. Again, I don't think this is going to be reaching this anytime soon, but that being said, we're seeing a lot of that RSI being overbought here, potentially kind of start slowing down here. And same, doesn't mean this is going to be coming crashing down, but we can, in the short term, we could see this potentially come to 152, even down to the 21 EMAs around 147. Since this has been such a large move higher on earnings, we could kind of start seeing this consolidation kind of build here, and kind of wait for the 34 and 21 EMAs to kind of potentially catch up, give it a little bit of boost, and we can see that kick higher. Let's see here. Sorry, my chat is updating here. No worry, Jonathan. No worries. It's okay. You can ask all your questions you want. It's just what's Planet Fitness's ticker? I always forget that one. It's like PLNT. Oh, look at that one. Let me get a like for everyone on that one. Just pull that one out of my you know what. Looking for again that Fibonacci retracement from the swing high to swing low here. Of course, Planet Fitness being the gym, and of course gym's kind of been hit due to the overall pandemic and the virus, and their very less sense of folks not being able to go there, states and local governments shutting it down, all that kind of stuff. Not been in the world's greatest scenario, without a doubt, and it's taken a lot of damage here. Even though it had earnings recently, it looks like it took it very well and actually had a pretty nice upward movement here. Still seeing some potentially consolidation here. So from the previous swing, of course it didn't click where I wanted it to. 1 second, guys. All right, Kevin. All right, when I get mad, I just call it a Kevin. So the swing high to swing low, really looking for, again, that initial stoppage was around the 618 here, and really just again where it lines up with the 200 EMA, kind of failed there. Now we're seeing that downward movement here, kind of needs to start breaking above 56.27 to see anywhere upward movement to try to get to the 200 EMA. To the downside, we're really looking for some support around the $50 to $49 there, my friend. Blue, yep, spot. Yeah, we can look at spot. So this is Spotify, great looking company. With earnings, really got kind of smacked here. but it held the 34 fairly well here. Dipped down a little bit, but still was within plus or minus like 2 or 3% of that overall 34 EMA. Really consolidated here from that swing low. Again, this is a little bit more advanced Fibonacci tracements there, but looking for that movement to kind of hold that 34. The 50-day really kind of came in, gave it a hug, gave it some hydration, and now kicking higher. We're seeing that 5 and 8 kind of kick through, so we can kind of look here for a potential standard Fibonacci retracement from the swing high to swing low. And we're seeing that 50% retracement come in here. So the swing high to swing low, that 50% bounce is looking around 270. So we start seeing that movement above 270. The next price target is going to be around 277 and then 287. And then, of course, you can see to that previous high above nearly 299 or $300. To the downside, we're really going to see that support kind of come in around 255. It had a large move today, nearly up 3% today, so that's a pretty substantial move. We do have a start of a squeeze as well. The volume zone oscillator just crossed above zero. That's also a great sign. So this looks like it could have some movement to continue going, just like we talked about Fastly earlier. SEN. What's SEN? It's not C and limited, isn't it? Oh, Sony. Okay. Sony, someone in, I think it was Ryan, bought some Sony today, which I thought it was very brave of him, honestly. That being said, not throwing him underneath the bus, it had a huge gap down. I don't know. I didn't read why. But this looks like some potential consolidation here around $80. We want to see that particular hold. It's around the 21 EMA. It's between the 21 and 34, so that's a pretty good, strong sign there of some potential consolidation here, and to kind of see this potentially go higher. But that could be some potential downside coming in play because we're seeing that momentum really drop. We're seeing RSI and volume zone oscillators getting to not the world's greatest level, so we'll rather kind of see how this plays out the next couple days or potentially coming into next week. Because the downside is really looking for potentially that basically support here around 79 to 78, and then looking for potential if it gets really low, we can look around 73. But if it can kind of correct itself, build a base around the $80 price target, that $87 is the next target to the upside. Yes, I believe. So if you have Tesla options or Apple options or calls or puts, I think normally the exchanges just give you what it equates out to. It's the same value, but I think you'll add more of the quantities of those calls or puts or whatever you have. I don't know where Mr. Bear is today. What's up with Disney? Love me some Disney, you know that. Thank you, Flippy Chatty. Disney, let's look at Disney. Let's see here. Looking here from the previous swing high to previous swing low, Disney, of course, had a pretty monstrous quarter here. Really surprising a lot of people, I think, because a lot of people are just like, oh, the parks are closed. They're not driving cruise ships or whatever. They're just not having the capability to make revenue. But I don't think people really rely on how heavily they're relying on their streaming service, the Disney Plus app. Of course, with sports slowly coming back, ESPN's actually going to be able to do live sports again. Things like that has been pretty strong here. For Disney, it's been a little bit lackluster here. Looking for potentially some consolidation around that 125 if it decides to come down here. If it doesn't hold that 125, we're going to be coming right back down to the 120 level. That's where the 200 EMA kind of lines up here. kind of where the 50 days are going to be kind of lining up as well. So that could be a potentially buying opportunity. Again, if you don't know, I'm a very long-term Disney holder, so the stock would need to come down drastically for me to even lose money in this, because it's just been one of my core holdings in my long-term account. But that being said, we're going to see in that potential consolidation moving forth. If that 25 holds, builds a nice base, we're going to be looking for that next overhead resistance at around, at 137.50. Mr. Smith, new to investing, mostly going on fundamentals and learning technicals. Ours, yeah. So what I tell people is, like, it's great to know fundamentals and it's great to know technicals, but you need to know kind of both. I know it looks like that I rely 100% on technicals, but I always make the joke of, like, yeah, I kind of need to know. Of course, I definitely need to know when earnings come out. I need to know what they sell. Like, if it's, some people are completely just like, I'm 100% technical analysis and I can just look at the chart and I can tell you where it could be. Yes, you can, but you kind of need to know some little bit of some potential background. Just went out. Everything okay there? Let me double check here. I think I just kicked my microphone here. Should be okay. Let's see here. Okay. Should be okay. Getting a red. There it goes. That being said, looking for, what was I talking about? Son of a gun. Oh, technical or fundamental investing. Gotta have a nice smorgasbord of both kind of coming together. The stock market's a huge buffet, and you can't just have meats. You gotta add some vegetables. You know what I'm saying? Where's a good place to learn technical analysis? Currently, I'm learning through YouTube, but it's there any course or books? That's a tough one. I wouldn't say there's a course that's going to help you teach everything. It's really just your ongoing curiosity, honestly, to kind of drive that. And you'll never, I'm constantly still learning stuff day in, day out. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that happens like that, or I didn't even think of it. That could be an option that happens like that, or whatever. Like, you're just constantly looking at new things, adding new things to your technical analysis. You're learning new companies, new ways of analyzing things. It's an ongoing process. So I guess some of the, honestly, it's kind of somewhat people don't really think about it. Is actually a book about. I need to start getting some links out for book club or something like that. I need to do a book club. I had the book right here. Where was it? Hold on one second. I'm looking at my bookshelf. Yeah, here it is. So if you're still there, my friend, it's called The Trader University, the Big Book of Stock Trading Strategies, and it's on Amazon. So that's going to be, that's a completely basic. It kind of gives you some potential, some day trading and some swing trading strategies, but it kind of gets you familiar with charts, some of the Bollinger Bands, and different various aspects of standard deviations and movement in stocks. That's always a good one. And there's another one I can't think of right now that's basically about psychology, which is actually the one thing that really drove me into stocks, was the understanding of psychology. So, of course, a lot of robots and AI and basically computer algorithms trade a lot of the intraday stuff, but there's still humans creating that. So there's still that emotional trading of being up and down and so forth. So it's really interesting. I should get I'll get something together and I'll post it on YouTube on some favorite books. I don't know, like, I thought I got affiliated with Amazon, but they banned me because I didn't use the proper language. I have to tell people that I'm an Amazon affiliate, and if I don't, they ban you for whatever reason. Like, I think I had a nice little chunk of change, and they didn't pay me out yet. but whatever. I don't have my phone with me. Do I have my phone with me? I do. I have my phone with me. I'll look it up and I'll put something together. It's so the one Smith, the book is only like $5 or $6, so it's a very cheap book. It's literally, it's super thin. It's super easy to read. The font's big. It's got a couple pictures in there, and just kind of gets you familiar with the overall thing. Mind checking AXP. Yes. Sorry, I get a little sidetracked. I have ADHD. So this is American Express. We just talked about Visa. We're going to talk about American Express. So the only reason I ever had American Express card is because they needed it at Costco. But once they lost that bid, now it's all Visa at Costco. So with this one, this is not looking pretty, honestly. It's still below the 200 EMA here, which is that blue line here, basically around 102. We really want to see that start breaking above that. It is really trying here to kind of potentially hold the 21 and 34 here, but we're seeing that 5 and 8 kind of start crossing through it. If that starts crossing through it, the next level of support is going to be around $94.11 to the downside. Of those that really kind of crosses through it, we kind of see some potentially support there previously in and around that range, so be mindful of that. If these want to kind of start bouncing higher, then the overhead sign is going to be looking for on 102 there, my friend. Tesla may be an asteroid mining with NASA. That'd be fantastic. Have a Model S driving around on an asteroid mining. Or no, sorry, not the Cybertruck. I have to say that I'm affiliated with them. Oh. I'll be honest with you, I hardly ever read terms of services. I don't think many people do, honestly. Yeah, that's what happened. I think I had an affiliate link, but then I got an email from them banning me, and then it was pretty sad, but it was whatever. It happens. Search for the video on YouTube by Stock Market Shenanigans. John Twilio and Intel for long term. What's as INTL? That's Intel, right? No, it's not. INTL, and that's not pulling for me anything. But we can do Twilio. I'm familiar with that one. Of course, this one has also been kind of hit with the overall like Fastly's, these companies that are basically did a lot of those work from home, internet security, kind of just moving the overall economy to more SaaS companies, the software as a sales. Really looking for that movement. Had a huge earnings run, which is always, again, somewhat of a scary aspect of just having that significant move higher and then kind of start consolidating, of course, with earnings. Kind of had a wake-up call, came back down, held at 34, so I really like this pattern here. Really looking for that kind of consolidation here. Again, just like Fastly, looking forward to kind of start breaking above that 265 to start getting higher. We can do a little fib here. Again, looking for that 50% retracement, basically around where those parabolic SR dots kind of line up, so around 265. If it can get above that, we're looking for 270. Downside support's really going to be around 250 there, my friend. Yeah, I don't know when battery's supposed to come out in September, right? The battery day for Tesla. King Pete 92 STNE. So this one, we're really looking for that previous swing high to swing low. This has been holding that 5 and 8 and basically the 21 EMA pretty well here. Looking for some potentially consolidation here. Downward support is going to be coming around 47. Upside overhead resistance around 54.43. I just kicked it again. That's what happens when I put my desk in standing mode. Oh, shoot. Alright. That's annoying. Sorry, guys. Discover DFS. Kind of looks very similar to basically American Express that we just talked about. Kind of failing here at the 200 EMA twice here. Kind of seeing that 5 and 8 cross through the 21, potentially further downside to around $47. Upside support resistance going to be around 54 there, my friend. Yeah. Oh, Intel. You said it did say Intel. So this one has been, again, really beat up with the overall earnings that came out not very well, and AMD really took their lunch. But we're seeing some interesting patterns kind of form here. With that large down move, we're really seeing that the Fibonacci retracements come in around the 618 here, building a really tight base here around $49 to $50. That's pretty significant base here. We've set up for at least 2 weeks, which is a pretty strong base in fact. Trying to get above that 21 EMA here around 50.50. If we get above that, we're really looking for around $52. To the downside, if things kind of start falling apart and a couple more wheels come off, we're looking to around $45 there. Chris, we did Disney. We can do Disney again. So Disney, we're really looking for potential support around 125. If that breaks, we're looking to around the 120, 118 level. But if that 125 holds, potentially builds a base, we're looking to the next price target around 137. JP Morgan, that's another banky bank. Oops. This thing, honestly, doesn't this look just like Discover, American Express? Failing here twice here at the 200 EMA, now kind of coming down here between the 5 and 8, kind of potentially crossing through the 21. Potential downside support around 95, and then down to $92 there. Alright, I got a couple more guys. I got a little bit of pain in my hernia area. I probably need to sit down and take some medicine. Still waiting for that the surgeon to see if I can get that surgery done to fix that. On that note, actually, we're going to call it. I'm actually not feeling too hot. I really appreciate everyone coming out. I really do, guys. Sorry I have to cut it kind of short. I wanted to go at least for 90 minutes, but I have to cut it short. Not feeling 100%, and we'll have to kind of call it here. Really sorry, guys. I'll see you guys in the Discord, alright? Peace.